First, I think our question today is from Matt, and it was about discipline versus motivation, and how do you keep training? I think that this is, kind of a really valid question for everybody. No matter how long you've been training, it's easy to fall off the bandwagon, get less and less consistent.
Yeah.
So I know that since the birth of my daughter, like it's been hard for me to find not time, but just the energy and the motivation to go and do workouts, stuff like that, like combined with a business. So how how do you balance that?
Man, I tell you, I feel like this stuff kind of like your lack of motivation and drive and your motivation are like determined on the season that you're in your life.
Mhm.
Because we all know like life is a thing and
Yeah.
it gets in the way sometimes. And um, personally, for me, like when I was younger, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it no matter what. I can train, I can, hang out with people and do what I need to do and maintain my lifestyle and do what I need to do and train at the same time and not get any sleep. Like
Yeah.
sleep at that point didn't matter.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, as you get older, like you have to find reasons why uh to be motivated, right? It causes us to dig a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So for example, like, your daughter, right?
Mhm.
That right now that's a reason for you to not because you're so busy. However, you can completely shift that perspective and be like, I need to be physically fit
Yeah.
and ready to go if I need to protect my family, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's all in a matter of finding the motivation. And then within that, right, during that period of motivation to continue to go on, we have to establish our discipline
Yeah.
and staying consistent with it.
Yeah, and I think that there's like ebbs and flows to that. Sometimes I'll train more, sometimes I'll train less, but I think it's important. Number one is having there has to be something else anchoring you to it besides just brute discipline.
Mhm.
I've never found that brute discipline lasts very long. Um,
It's not sustainable.
well, there's so to me, there is a finite amount of willpower that you can exercise in life.
Yeah.
You can flex it, you can grow it, but there's a finite amount of it.
Mm.
Some people are experts at really pushing the extent of their willpower, and other people don't exercise it at all. And I think that trying to push that boundary is good, but if you're trying to exercise willpower in every single area of your life and just brute forcing it, like diet, then exercise, and then time with the family, and all this stuff is just willpower, like there's no joy in any of it,
Yeah, it's a job.
you're going to really, crash and burn on that.
Yeah.
So same with your career.
Yeah.
Like if you have a really hard career that you have to drag yourself to every single day and exercise a ton of willpower to get to that career, it's going to be harder to willpower a workout and a diet at the same time.
Yeah. Because
Much
you're just compounding difficult things on top of each other, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and and think about this too, like you're motivated to train and hit this diet and do whatever you need to do, but you also have to attack it in a baby step approach too. Some people want to attack it in this like, oh, I'm starting right off 7 days a week. I'm going to the gym. I'm gonna run 3 miles, you know, every other day, and then I'm going to up it to 9 miles next week. Like they go at it at
Yeah.
this extreme, and it's very challenging to attack it that way at the
Yeah.
beginning, right? You think about like when we started training, right?
Yeah.
We didn't train 6 days a week. We didn't like spend hours and hours and hours in the gym perfecting our craft until we got hungrier for it and we were able to carve out the time for it.
Well, and these things compound on each other. Like, so when I'm thinking about that willpower aspect, if I can do something that I radically enjoy and there's people there that I enjoy being with,
Mhm.
it makes it a heck of a lot easier to get
Yeah.
to that place and do that thing.
Yeah.
I think that that's why there was advice that was given, and it was, yeah, you can go to $10 a month Planet Fitness, or you can pay $200 a month and go to a premium gym with a smaller amount of people, with people who are all committed. There's a monetary investment, which means something in your brain.
Yeah.
Two, the people that you're going to meet there are much more
Vested.
invested and higher quality
Yeah.
people that you would like to form relationships with and are there for a lot of the same purposes. So I think that that's a huge part of it, is what you're willing to invest in that. And what you're willing to invest says a lot about your priorities. And there has to be pillars. For instance, I'm going to train martial arts. I'm going to lift. I'm going to run. Then I'm going to go on a hike every couple of weeks. Then I'm going to go camping. I'm going to do all this stuff, right? Well, no, that'll come in seasons.
Yeah,
Like
you
you
gotta
might
be
have
realistic about it.
seasons
Yeah.
where you're hitting all that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'll just whittle down to the bare basics. Like I got to get moving 2 days a week
Yeah.
for like certain
Yeah.
phases of life. And having pillars, and martial arts has been the pillar for me. It it helps me with all the rest of my fitness and keep it in line.
Yeah.
And helps me direct it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm getting my ass kicked in a certain aspect of my craft and of my trade, it educates me in where I need to spend time fitness wise.
Where you're lacking, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if guys are just rolling me over and I can't keep up and I'm just being flipped around, I can't hold grips. Well, I might need to spend a little bit less time running, more time, hitting the weight room.
Yeah.
And if my endurance, like I'm gassing out at the end of 5-minute rounds grappling, I might need to invest in some slow zone 2 based cardio, like twice or 3 times a week. Yeah. And also this comes down to a lot of genetics. Like what can your body, what kind of volume can you tolerate? Yeah. And that's a genetic thing. You have to find that for yourself. So some people are animals and they can go 3 days a week, like they're very resistant to inflammation. So it takes them a lot of effort to actually see results.
Yeah.
Then other people, like me, for instance, I have a very low tolerance for inflammation. So I get super inflamed very easily, but that means that I need a lower dose of exercise to actually have an impact. Yeah. So I only need 2 days a week of like weight training. Some people need 5.
Yeah.
And so you really have to find these things out. And I've spent a lot of money and invested in finding that stuff out. But
and that was something that you did like through blood work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like genetic testing. Yeah. So because I had other health issues that I was trying to sort out, things like that.
Yeah, and it's like also like with motivation and being disciplined, like the motivation factor, you got to think too, like even if you get 1 or 2 things in during the week, like you got to celebrate that sometimes, man, because like we're talking about, like life is challenging. There are a lot of things that are thrown on your plate, and people want to hang out with you and spend time with you, and that's going to take away from you doing what you want to do. And so it's important to also like celebrate the fact that you actually had an opportunity to do something. Yeah. If it's something for 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day, but there's a lot of value in just accomplishing that task with the way with the stuff that we have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, and if you listen to every single health and wellness podcaster, your entire job could be just trying to work out and recover. Yeah. Oh, I need to sauna. I need an ice bath.
That's how extensive it is.
Yeah, I need to get 9 hours of sleep each night, and then I need red light therapy before I go to bed. Yeah. Then I need to do zone 2 cardio. Oh, I need to train martial arts. I need to weight lift 4 times a week. Then I need to do zone 2 cardio. Then I need to do high intensity cardio. And it's,
first of all, that sounds like a lot. And then secondly, it sounds expensive.
Right. And
right.
And so you have to pick things.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's valuable to you? What are your highest tier values? Yeah. And for me, a highest tier value when I'm trying to look at fitness is, am I going to enjoy going to the place that I go to get this done? And do I enjoy the activity itself? Yeah. That's why martial arts has always stuck. It's been the one thing that I've done consistently for 18 years now. Yeah. It's fun for me.
And it's the same thing for me like that. I do traditional weightlifting, I run, and I do all this other stuff. But like my favorite thing in the world is to train martial arts, whether it be hitting the bag, hitting the pads, sparring, teaching it, like just being involved in that realm. And as long as you're doing something that's physical, 1, but 2 has some like mental growth in there too, like some emotional testing, right? Test your emotions a little bit. And also you're doing it together with other people. Yeah. Like you don't really need much, man, to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
No, and I think that if you're busy and you're struggling for motivation, narrow it down. Pick your thing. Yep. And then as life gives you breaks, expand. And then as life takes things away, takes time away, contract back to your core and expand out. Yep. And you're constantly playing that, but always have a pillar. Yep. that's there that I do something, I do this 2 days a week, 3 days a week,
Yeah.
even if it's a walk in the
Yeah.
morning around Mount Trashmore or something, or you just go through your neighborhood, like take a walk, put on a weight vest. That's what you can do.
Yeah.
But I would recommend getting into a class, and I'm sort of biased because I
Yeah.
teach them, but
Right. Right.
I would totally. But I've seen people get great results and stick with classes here at my gym longer than any of them have ever stuck with a weightlifting routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that was a good question.
yeah, it was a good question, and it's something that I think that everyone struggles with.
So
So
he's not alone.
no, he's not. Matt, that was out to you.